So today we're heading for a place in Cheshire called Lyme Park, and apparently this is the biggest house in Cheshire, and there should be quite a bit of stuff to explore, so it should be pretty good. And I'm just driving through the Peak District at the moment on the way, so as you can see the scenery is pretty good. So yeah, I'll just continue making my way there. Okay, so I think we're just coming up to Lyme Park now. And I think this lodge building we're coming up to dates to 1860, I think. And this is the entrance to the main drive now. That hut, it's not quite open yet. And then into the park. You can see an old hunting lodge on the top of the hill to our left, just about. Just going out of view now. I'll be going up there later on. Parkland seems pretty massive here. This reminds me of driving into Cheshire, down through that lane for all the parkland. And I can just see a glimpse of part of the house in the distance in front of us. We're going to turn right here to park, but yeah, you can see the house in front of us. And the car park's down there. I've just got out of the car and already you can see the west side of the house from the car park, which is quite a nice sight with the sun shining off it at the moment. Okay then, so let's have a little walk up towards the house. Okay, so this is Lyme Park. And this is grade 1 listed. So we're currently standing at the north side of the house, and the house here at Lyme has seen changes and additions by successive generations of the Lee family. In Tudor times it was Sir Piers Lee VII who decided to make Lyme his main family home. The Elizabethan house that forms the core of the present house was built for him in the late 1500s. Then, in the 1720s and 30s, Peter Lee XII transformed the house into a Georgian mansion. He commissioned the Venetian architect Giacomo Leone to work on the house, designing the courtyard and the iconic south front that we see here, amongst other work. While he retained some of the house's Elizabethan features, many of his changes were in a mixture of Palladian and Baroque styles. Previously, the courtyard area had been unenclosed, but by adding his south range and making other changes, the area at the centre of the house here now became enclosed from all sides. Between 1816 and 1822, Thomas Lee commissioned Lewis Wyatt, the nephew of James Wyatt, to further overhaul the house. Wyatt was conscious of the history of the family and the house and took this into consideration in his interior decoration, where he did some remodelling in most of the rooms. Like most of these estates, during the Second World War, Lyme would have to be used for the war effort. And in Lyme's case, it was used as an RAF lorry depot, and a tower up on the nearby hill was used by the Home Guard and the RAF as a lookout point. And like I said, I'll hopefully be going up to that tower a bit later on. In 1946, due to a challenging economic situation for the family, Lyme was left to what we now know as the National Trust. The house would now be there for the health, education and enjoyment of the people of Stockport. The view of the south front of the house is featured as the exterior of Mr Darcy's home, Pemberley, in the BBC's adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. And in 2011, a film called The Awakening was also filmed here. And I actually watched that a couple of months ago, and it's pretty good. I won't share the plot as it'll spoil it, but yeah, I would recommend giving it a watch. So, this is the north front, and this consists of 15 bays in 3 stories, and this is symmetrical. The central bay consists of a slightly protruding gateway, and the arched doorway in this bay has Doric columns with a niche on either side. Above the doorway are 3 more Doric columns with a pediment, and above this are 3 further columns. Over all this are 4 further columns with an open pediment bearing an image of the Roman goddess Minerva. The architectural historian Nicholas Pevsner referred to this gateway as the craziest Elizabethan frontispiece. Outside the north front of the hall is a forecourt with this turning circle, part of Wyatt's scheme of the early 19th century. The gate piers here are late 17th century, and the gates and railings are of around 1821 by Wyatt, and all this is Grade 2 listed. Here's a closer look at those gates and gate piers. And on top of this drain pipe on the north front, it's actually dated 1676. And I'll just get a picture of that. Just to the side of the north front is this little garden called the Wyatt Garden. And just up there is the Orangery that we'll see when we go round to the gardens a bit later on. Okay, so let's go under the north front and into the courtyard, as this house actually wraps around this central courtyard. It's quite an impressive little space, this is. And as I said, this just goes round and round. And that's the entrance to the house up there. So, this courtyard was remodelled by Lyme, who gave it a rusticated cloister on all four sides, as you can see here at the bottom. This Italian wellhead in the centre of the courtyard dates back to the 18th century, and it was probably brought to the house from Venice in around 1900. And then in all four corners on the floor, we've got this checkered pink and white stone, which simulates marble. So like I said, this is quite an impressive little courtyard for the centre of a house. And like I said, it's got these cloisters all around the outside of the courtyard. Boot scrapers down here. So as I said, on this side of the courtyard, this is the grand entrance to the house, and below that we've got these steps and railings, and the railings date to 1734, and these were by someone called John Gordon of Baslow, Derbyshire, and to be honest, I've never heard of that person before, but they could be quite well known. I've never come across it yet. And just round this corner, got a little sort of fountain. So this is the symmetrical 15 bay 3-storey south front, and this overlooks the lake, and it was the work of Lyme. As you can see, the bottom story is rusticated with arched windows, whereas the other stories at the top are smooth with rectangular windows. It has a giant portico sitting at its centre, and this is topped by a triangular pediment which sits atop 4 fluted ionic columns. The pediment partly hides Wyatt's balustraded attic block behind it at the top. And above the pediment stand 3 statues depicting Neptune, Venus and Pan. And I'll get some close-up pictures of those. So they do operate free flow tours of the house here, which I'll be taking at some point. But they also do behind the scenes tour one, which is on very shortly, so I'll be taking that. Thanks from the wall. These are the underground servants' tunnels.
And this was put in. This was built by Lewis Wyatt. When I was
This was where the coal came in. This was apparently the timber yard for the house.
But you can see why you can see now the sense of him.
And this was the entrance to the servants' tunnel.
So you work your way around, out now and back in till
And there's the house.
the safety stuff. All right, thanks a lot.
Okay, so let's go and have a look at the main rooms of the house now. This is the entrance hall. This was created by Giacomo Leone in the 18th century from the older Great Hall that was already here. These tapestries were woven in the early 1600s. They were originally in the Lee's London home in Belgrave Square, and they were moved here in 1903. And that picture that you can see there standing out, that swung out so that you could view this room from the room next to it. Let's carry on a bit. Nice. This looks like a library.
I'm really sorry. They obviously have got switched on so we can sit in the Well, we could visit them now, but
Fantastic ceiling.
No. No.
Lovely little snug area.
National Trust training. You don't make what? National Anthem is from 2013. We use on silver though, don't we? Oh, yeah, on metals, but not on books. Transferred.
Okay. 16,
59.
59. No, 16, 59.
during the time of the colonists.
Absolutely, yes.
Can I make a picture of that one?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I apologize for our language.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. Well, you're speaking English to me.
Let's continue. By the way, according to what I read, during the latter part of the 18th century, it was Piers Lee, the 13th, who bought most of the furniture, which is in the house today. This looks out onto the garden. Another tapestry on the wall. Lovely ornate clock in this corner.
Okay, no problem at all.
Bit of work going on in here. Dining room, I suppose. Another pretty grand chimney piece.
Turning to Regent's Park. Is that what you made? No.
Nice door case.
Duke of Richmond and Lennox in that corner, and Charles I here holding his death warrant. He didn't pose for that, that's me. The tapestry on that's a copy, a printed copy. The original's being restored at great expense by this process on the video.
Yeah, we saw a similar thing
So this is the stag parlour, and this has a chimney piece depicting an Elizabethan house and hunting scenes, and it includes the arms of James I.
My family lived in Sheffield, and in the, I think it was the late 1950s.
And I think this leads through to the drawing room now.
Your lady showed us round, you know everything about the house.
And we have those flies down there, tack together, which they wouldn't have done.
And this is quite spectacular, really.
So that would have given a lot more life, I think. But no, I think, you know, this heavy wood.
And this is the other side of that painting from the entrance hall. So this is behind that picture. And that's the entrance hall down there. I think these were called squints, these little things that opened to let you see into the other rooms. And this is one of the sort of principal Elizabethan rooms.
So he had them right here.
A fantastic chimney piece again. And the coat of arms in the middle is actually the coat of arms of Elizabeth I.
Hello, welcome to the drawing room. Welcome to the drawing room. This is where the ladies would come.
Ladies.
Yeah.
No, it's quite all right. I agree with you.
And some of this stained glass, it's medieval, and this was moved from the original Lyme Hall to the nearby Disley Church and then returned to Lyme in 1835.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's a point. Yeah, that's a point. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, we really put in until the end of the 1800s. So it's sort of.
Not sure what this room is. But again, there's some decent tapestries. You can see how thick the walls are. You can get a view out to the north front here. And there's that turning circle that I mentioned earlier, where you could turn your carriages or later on your cars.
Was it 4'6"? Standard double bed's 4'6", isn't it? Single's 3'4". So king size is 5'4". by 5 foot. It's
No,
a king size is square.
Right, king size is 6 foot long, I know that.
Right, okay.
So-
Is it?
But I'm not sure about the width. I don't
5
think it's
foot.
square, is it?
We've got 2 for king in our bedrooms, 5 foot 5 foot 6, sorry.
I think it is slightly small.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very, elaborate and,
I suppose if you can, then you do.
You do, yeah.
but it's quite tall considering, where you go to, hotels, we've got 4 folks a bed, that's like twice as big, isn't it? You wouldn't be leaving your suitcases on the top of there, you'd never get them back down, would you?
That was the yellow bedroom, apparently. The family staircase at the side, yeah. Moving on. So these are obviously sort of the family rooms and stuff. Various bedrooms and stuff like that. I think we got in a bathroom here.
And of course you pay for it.
Embarrassing.
And so I want this time. Because when you come and visit, I can see. Yeah.
So these corridors basically work their way around that courtyard that we were in earlier. Hello.
Depois de salon.
This is the saloon. Another nice ceiling in the Rococo style. These wooden carvings have been attributed to Grinling gibbons. Gorgeous chandelier. There's quite a bit of gilded stuff in here, including the chandelier, obviously. Okay, let's go upstairs. It's a fantastic area, this is.
Thank you. I'll speak to you in a minute. All right.
Heading to the long gallery now.
Guilty doing a third off for a tiny guilty plea. I inadvertently went for my break. I didn't realise that I was in here, so I've had my break now and I've come back. Sorry.
I think that's the biggest fireplace in here, that one.
sorry. What a fruit. For some reason, I got it in my head. I was doing that, then my brain, you know. And then I looked, oh my goodness.
And these long galleries, these were so long that you could basically get your exercise in here in the winter months and whatnot. You could play games or jog or walk or whatever you wanted. More family rooms, I think. You can tell this is one of the older rooms. Even the chimney piece is like lopsided. Yeah, there's some very old stuff in this house. Through a little snug room. You can tell the corridors here are quite a bit more modern than some of the rooms. Here's the workings for the clock. Heading back down. I think this is the way out now. Yeah, and then back out into the central courtyard. Okay then, so that's the house covered, pretty much. So let's go and have a look at the gardens and grounds and stuff. So the first thing we'll have a quick look at is the Dutch garden, and this is just to the west of the house and much lower down. If we look over here, that's what's known as the Dutch garden now, and its name recalls the earlier formal garden with a cascade which was created here in around 1700 and which survived until removed by Wyatt in around 1818. We'll go over the other side of the house now and have a look at the orangery. The National Trust people are doing a bit of work here, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me. Okay, so this is the Grade 2 star listed orangery. And this is just to the east side of the house. And this orangery was designed in 1862 by Alfred Derbyshire. Have a look inside. The tiled floor also dates back to 1862 when it was first built. However, the tall central fountain was introduced in the 1980s. I'm guessing that replaced a much older one that went missing for some reason. And obviously they would have used this orangery back in the day for trying to grow exotic fruits and stuff like that. And protruding from the east side of the house, I believe that's the dining room. Coming out of there. Then on the grass in front, we got some sort of sundial. And then there's various sort of flower beds and stuff. And then just to the northeast of the Orangery is a rose garden here, dating to around 1913. And this was apparently restored in around 1995. And in the middle of the rose garden is this little pond or fountain, featuring this little boy with a fish. And on the north wall is that little summer house up there. And there's the house in the Orangery. And if we just go up these steps here and to the left, there's a strange table on the left hand side. And this was believed to have been a cockfighting table. And apparently that's on the site of what used to be a gazebo in the 17th century in this area. But yeah, apparently that was replaced by a cockfighting table. And just walking into the woods at the side and behind the house, we should come across this. And this is called Hampers Bridge in a little area called Kiltime. And this bridge dates from the 1750s. And as you can see, it's sort of a little ravine area that they must have created in the garden at some point. And I think this bridge must have been taken apart and put back together at some point. Maybe the bricks were used from somewhere else. Because on the actual individual bricks, there's various numbers on them, and builders used to do that with stuff when they used to take them apart to move them elsewhere. They used to number them so they'd know how to put them back together again. I'll get a little photo of some of those numbers in the brickwork. There's a view from higher up. I think that over the top of the bridge is out of bounds now. So we'll head somewhere else. As we walk down that path from the ravine, you can see this stream leading down, and this is one of the streams that actually leads into the lake at the south of the house that we saw a bit earlier. So I'll just pop down there again now. The lake with a view to the house is too good to pass up seeing again, so we'll have another look at the lake and the house. So here we are with that view again. I think this view across the lake to Lyme is one of the best views in English country houses. Look at this for a view. Absolutely gorgeous. Incidentally, in the film The Awakening from 2011, I'm sure there was some sort of jetty sticking out into the water down here where they did a couple of scenes. That don't seem to be here anymore, so maybe they just built that for the film, or they did it with CGI somehow or something. But yeah, good film anyway. Okay, so I'm going to leave the formal gardens in a second. We're going to now head out towards the parkland and stuff. See another couple of big features. Just before I go out to the main gates again, still in the formal gardens area, just about. There's this little feature up here, just over the top of the wall here. And this is what they call a meat locker, or a game larder. So when they'd been hunting and got pheasants or other animals or whatever, they would hang them in here for a while. And we've seen similar ones to these at Shugborough and Chatsworth as well. So this dates from the 1800s, and this itself is actually Grade 2 listed. And what it's supposed to do really is allow the game meat to cool down slowly after being killed, which apparently helps develop the flavour and the texture. And that process benefits from good ventilation and cool temperatures. And I think next, in the distance up there, that's the stable block. So I think I'm going to pop up there. There's a decent view of the north front of the house from here as well, actually. So just up here, this is the stable block. So these date back to 1863, and these are listed at Grade 2. And these were also designed by Alfred Derbyshire, who had designed the Orangery that we've seen. There's not really much more to see there because it's staff only. There's no public entry, so we shall move on. And this is where I go out walking in the parkland. If you can see that speck on the horizon, somewhere in the middle of the scene, I'll be going there after I've been to the next thing. That's called the cage, but I'm going to something called the lantern first. So I'm still going through the parkland. There's the cage on our left hand side still. And I'm still heading out to find the lantern. It's really windy out here, but apparently I've been told it's this way. I have to go over a couple of stiles to get there. Just had to walk up a big hill trying to find the lantern. I don't think I'm that far away now. Look at the view. And I think I've got to go over this large stile here, or ladders even. Right, so I'm over that now. And now we're walking into what's known as Lantern Wood. So the lantern should be in here somewhere. Does feel very isolated out here, but I love finding these follies out in the parkland. I don't think you get many people coming to look at this. Here it is, I think. So this is called the lantern. This is the back side of it. And just about see the house peeping behind it. I'll just have a walk down in front of it. So this is the grade 2 star listed lantern. And this is described as a belvedere. And if you come down the front, you can see in the distance the house is down there. I'll take a picture so got a bit more of a close-up. So that's precisely why this was built here, so that you could see this from the house and you could see the house from here. And obviously this is what they call an eye catcher, or a folly, but more precisely an eye catcher really, because it was, like I say, designed to be seen from a certain point. Let's have a quick look inside. So there's no floors. I don't know if there was once upon a time. There's some holes in the wall, so you never know. And you can see how they've planted that avenue of trees just to lead your eye right down to the house. And this was built in around 1729, and it's made of sandstone and has 3 stories and a spire. The top story and the spire actually date to about 1580 and originally formed a bellcote on the north gatehouse to the main house. This was removed during the restoration of the house by Wyatt and rebuilt on the present site here. What an interesting little building. Okay, so now having seen that, I'm going to retrace my steps for quite a while back down into that parkland, and we'll go and see the cage on the top of that hill. Just while I'm on my way back, I just want to give a shout out to Andrew, who watches my videos, and he was kind enough to make a donation on the link below my videos. And that'll just go towards having a coffee and towards my petrol. So every little bit helps. So I really appreciate that, Andrew. Thanks a lot. I'm back on the track now, and look, we've got a herd of deer running across here. How good's that? Wow. Look, I think one of them's leading the way. The others are hanging back. And they're going to cross over. How good's that? And then if I just turn the camera to the left, you can see the cage on the top of that hill, and that's where I'm going to go now. We're on the way to the cage. Okay, so we're getting a bit closer now to the grade 2 star listed cage. Again, you might hear a bit of wind up here because it is really windy. But anyway, the cage, this was originally a hunting lodge, obviously because you could see the park all around it. And it was later used as a park keeper's cottage and even as a lock-up for prisoners at some point. This building dates back to 1737, possibly to a design by Leone for Peter Lee X. It consists of 3 stories with these small towers at each corner. And there's a sundial on this side. Someone doesn't want you to break in. The entrance appears to be on this side. And actually there's a sundial on this side as well. Maybe there's one on every side. Okay, so there's only one side without a sundial actually, and it's on the dark left hand side, you can see here. From up here you can see for miles around to surrounding towns and villages. And the approach road that we drove up this morning is just down there. There appears to be another entrance on this side. And like I said earlier on, this was used as a lookout point in the Second World War, and you can see why really. Okay then, let's head back down towards the house and the car. Well, I've walked almost 12 kilometres today, so I'm due a good rest tomorrow, put my feet up. And as you can see, on the way back down from the cage, you can see the house coming into view. So you get a decent little view here of the north front. So all that's left for me to say really is, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found it interesting and enjoyed it. So yeah, I really appreciate everyone watching. I love you coming along on my little journeys with me. So yeah, thanks a lot, and I shall see you next time. See you later.